hello there. It's Paul Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. We got another great interview coming up for you in just a moment or so. But don't forget, we have that subscribe button and the bell, and you just click those. You'll always be notified of any new episodes coming your way. And if you'd like to leave a comment on the comment section, you can. And we're on Facebook, facebook.com/Paul Mash TV. And you can follow us there. You can send us an inbox. You can even comment the things there. And also, you can email us. It's paulmashtv, all one word, at gmail.com. And if you're a band or even a solo artist that wants to be on the show, just send us an email and we'll show you how to do that. But we love fan mail, so if you're a fan, just send us an email at the same email address and we'll get back to you. And all this is going to be recalled at the closing credits of the show, so stay tuned for that. From Boise, Idaho, we have Michael F. Rose today. He's this is the second time he's been on our show, and he's going to be, telling us all about the things that's happened since last time, and I'm sure you want to stay tuned for that. But first, let's go to this commercial for Galtar, the guitar made specifically for women. So don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
Ready in 5.
Darling, when nothing else seems to match up. Galtar, the musical apparel that fits any outfit. Galtar, bringing heaven to earth. One gal at a time. GaltarHeaven.com.
Okay, we're back from commercial, and with us for a second time on our show from Boise, Idaho, we have Michael F. Rose, and thank you so much for coming back, Michael.
Thanks for having me. How's it going, everybody? Hi, Paul.
Yeah, it's good to have you back again. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you since you were last on the show.
So much has happened. We've shortly after our last podcast meeting, I signed a deal with Big Records. We added a keyboard player, James Brownson, who's phenomenal. It's actually exploded into something pretty special. One of the problems with how good this band is getting, and I'm not taking any credit for it, I'm just really good at surrounding myself with people who are awesome. It's almost like we need to go in and re-record everything. It's so much better now, but we don't get to do that, do we? Some of this stuff's already out. And one of the things that's coming out is through Big Records, Sony Orchard's going to release our song Still America, 57 Chevy, and I believe Guns. And the title's Guns, Drugs, Women, Cars, and Whiskey. And I don't, and that's later in the year, but in January, end of January, Still America is going to be released on Sony Orchard. And let me say this, and I'll shut up for a second. I always wanted to kind of quantify the song title. The verse is guns, drugs, women, cars, and whiskey, and all those crazy things I tried to do to get you off my mind, but in the end, I find another lonely night I can't get through. And honey, I'm as sad as I was sorry, and girl, my heart's as broke as this is true. But guns, drugs, women, cars, and whiskey, Lord, I know, never felt the way I feel when I'm with you. So we should do let's do a vote. I really think that the name is a little detracting from how good the song came out. And I'm thinking, since I say, feel the way I feel when I'm with you, I think we should change the name of that song to When I'm With You.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'll send you a link, and if you could put that connected to this podcast and let the people that see it, I'd really like to get a consensus. I kind of already know where I'm leaning. I think we're probably going to end up retitling that. But I'd like to see what everybody thinks. I really would. And based on the vote, I mean, if they love guns, drugs, women, cars, and whiskey, I just think there's so many songs that have whiskey in it. It seems a little, I don't know. It's a little cheesy if you start throwing too much, because that's all anybody's talking about anymore is drinking and, I don't know. I love country music. I'm more of an older country music
Mhm.
kind of listener. But and everybody has their own medicine, right? Music is medicine, and I don't judge what other people do. I love everybody's art, but for me, it's a little redundant, and it's a little when I'm writing, it organically happens, but I can still control the direction that the song goes. And I just think that with all of the pain and suffering and sorrow and sadness and how just absolutely shitty everything's become, not everything, how shitty things have become in the world, to a certain degree. Um, Even though I write about heavy things, oftentimes I still like to leave this like optimistic way out, at the end of it. And to be quite honest, um, when I'm writing about like guns, when I say guns, drugs, women, cars, and whiskey, Lord, I know it doesn't feel the way I feel when I'm with you. I wasn't writing that song about a woman. I was writing that song about God. But it works both ways. You know what I mean? So that's why there's a big reason why I want to retitle it so it's not detracting to, you're going to find an audience with anything, but my music, if when you listen to it, wink wink, not if you listen to it, it's really about me. Most every song is me having a conversation with God about what I'm going through. Just to some degree, there's always that. I have a song. It's called "The Cross," walking down Calvary, because I have the Bad Horse music and I love what we're doing. It's just phenomenal, and I have to give props to my bassist Bob Umphris and my lead guitar player. These guys are all my buddies too. They're not just my players. Um, Mark Hume and Flip Perkins on drums is just absolutely insane. I always give credit to Greg Kirkus. Greg Kirkus was our original drummer, and he's playing drums on Still America when it releases in January. And now we have James Brownson. So we have a keyboard player and everything. That now this is kind of like how would I describe it? I really can't describe this music. It's like I'll tell you what. I'll let you guys figure out what it's like. I'm done trying to figure that part out. You guys listen to it and tell me if you love it. We sure do. It's our medicine.
Okay, well, I'm sure if you go to, it's on YouTube, I guess, so you can check it out yourself. And um, are you doing any concerts nowadays? Maybe you want to tell some people where you're going to be at.
We have no upcoming shows. We
Hmm.
have purposefully, because we brought James on, we have a keyboard player now. We're taking the next 2 months to song build. Then we're going to go back in and record. And there's a handful of things that we haven't already put up for release that we are literally going to re-record. Um, there's a lot of really wonderful stuff going on through Big Records and that amazing team.
Hmm.
There's starting to do some logistics work or some recon work on regional tours where we can get Big Records artists together based on location and start doing some 3, 4 artist shows. Um, it's just it's making art. I had this realization the other day when I heard what we sound like now with Flip Perkins on drums and James. And I mean, these guys are phenomenal. All these guys are phenomenal. I can write songs and sing songs, and I'm a good, steady rhythm guitar player. That's my job, is to write and sing. But these guys are so good, and the music is so good now that when I looked back at most of what we recorded early last year, and we're at a stage of the game now where we have followers and fans and friends and people that listen to us. But there's stuff that I have up that I released maybe a year, 2 years ago, or 6 years ago, or 10 years ago. And they're all good songs and the recordings are okay. But I realized that for the longest time, I was just trying to get music out. I was writing music, recording music, releasing music, selling music. And I realized that I wasn't making art. I was just making music, which is wonderful on a certain level. So I started trying to figure out the songs that are art and the songs that are just, and I love them all, but and I don't know if that makes any sense to you, Paul, or if you're a songwriter or an artist. I think this would probably have to make some sense to you, because I was always in a hurry, because as you can see, I'm in my, I have my Nashville hat on, which is covered in epoxy and all kinds of stuff, because I still work for a living. I'm an independent artist. I still go to work. I do epoxy floors. I love doing them. And there's something about, but I have had a little bit of opportunity to not do so many because of music. But at the same time, I love to work. So with that same tenacity and that feeling when you drive home from work and you're done, it's just such a cool thing. You don't get anywhere else. It's a different feeling of satisfaction when you come home from a great rehearsal or a studio session or a live show. It's a whole different type. It's a different type of high you really have to be careful with, because they go really high when you're on stage and you're playing and everybody's going bananas. And then 2 hours later, I'm home, like watching a Dodger game that I recorded earlier. I mean, it's just like, and you really have to ride that middle wave. But from that place, I've been able to see the difference between being a songwriter and releasing music and being an artist. And everything that I'm doing now has to go through that artist filter. And we have a song called Every Time You Cry. We have so many new songs that no one's even heard yet that are so good, you see. So now all this other stuff, I'm trying to see if it stands up to it. And some of it does. Still America certainly does. 57 Chevy does. Guns, or When I'm With You, whatever we end up calling that song. There's one or two more that I can't think of that are. But everything else, I'm going to pull it all down. I really am. I'm going to take the songs that are art. I'm going to slow down. We're going to build these songs and we're going to release them. That way, all this other stuff, that, because I was a solo artist for years, just recording, and like a song called Cinnamon Creek, we're going to re-record. That's probably my most successful song ever. But if you love Cinnamon Creek before, wait till you hear it with this band, with James on piano and the way Flip plays it. I mean, it's a whole different universe that we're in now as far as musically goes. So, yeah. So if you want to, Still America, a lot of anything that's probably more than Still America Old, which I believe was released in, I think it was released, I don't know how I remember this stuff, but October 27th of 2022. Anything before that is probably coming down, but it won't be gone forever. It's going to be re-recorded. We're gonna take it through the art filter, and if it doesn't stand up, it won't be back. Because we're really blessed with some. I'm just surrounded by some wonderfully talented people, not just from the band, but what Roz is doing at Big Records, and from Tara and Jenny and Eileen, the jet setters, and the relationships I'm building with, Tim, and I mean, this whole crew of people are, I don't know, I feel really kindred with the whole thing. That's why I did the deal. It wasn't about money or anything like that. It was really about finding, not just from my band, but to the Big Records team, like this kindred sense of like-mindedness that's all moving toward this common goal. And when I signed the Big Records deal, I really had to take a look at myself and decide, not who am I? I know who I am as a human being, but who am I as an artist? And that's when that word popped up, Paul. It was just like, am I an artist? Or am I just a musician? Or am I just a guy that can sing a little bit? Or am I just a lyricist, And I think in that, for me, having been an athlete my whole life, having been a fireman years ago, and there's a lot of ego and there's a lot of pride in those types of things. And one of the things that I've recently done, I've been studying Stoicism, which has really helped a lot, never did. I've been meditating every morning, praying every morning. I have a lot of scripture in here that's always pinging around, and I think for me, it was just time to completely stop being full of shit in every aspect of my life. And it wasn't like I was running around just being a total meathead, you know. I'm pretty solid guy. I have a business, go to work. I love my wife, my kids. I'm pretty solid, but I had to really look at me and see if I was being 2 Timothy 2:15 says, "Do your best to present yourself before God as one approved, a workman who need not be ashamed, correctly dividing the word of God." And I always took the first part of that and said, "Do your best." Well, I'm doing my best. Come on, I'm doing my best. But you got to read the whole thing as one approved. I'm not approved. The only way I'm approved is through Yeshua, right? So my approval comes through Christ. So the fact that I've been given that gift, and then when you read on, right, you're like a workman who need not be ashamed. Okay, am I? When I go to work, when I'm doing, whether I'm in the studio or rehearsing with the boys, or I'm cutting my grass, or I'm doing an epoxy floor for somebody who's paying for it, am I making sure that everything, every little corner, every little part, I don't see a flaw and go, nobody will see it. I just fix it. And I've been doing that when it comes to floors, and I've been doing that in aspects of my life for a long time. But when I focus that Marconi beam of understanding at the music, it really showed me how weak my game was. And being able to sit in that humility and realize that I have some gifts, but I haven't really, I haven't really worked at that hard at what I needed to be focusing on. And anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little long-winded with this, but once I can sum it up by saying, when I was able to be humble enough to call bullshit on myself, everything started getting better. It just started to. And last but not least, I will say this, and then I'll shut up. I think what God really put in my heart, and I realized, see, I used to think back in the day, like, you're just really talented and you write some great songs and you sing, and then everybody goes, "Oh, look at this guy. He's really good at this shit. We need to support him." And it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of talented people in this world, but I've discovered, Paul, is that when I truly started caring about the people around me's goals and hopes and dreams as much as my own, not just to, patronize them and say, "Oh yeah, but to sincerely care about the people around me and what they're trying to accomplish as much as what I'm trying to do, if not more in some cases." And until we connect like that, um, the music wouldn't be where it is today. The big record situation wouldn't be going on today. And I see that in the world. And I'm not going to try to be this artist that heals the world with a quote or anything, but I really think that if, love your neighbors, you love yourself, right? So it's like, if you don't love yourself, then you've lost that idea from the get-go. How do you love your neighbor if you don't love yourself, right? And by loving yourself, it's not always just buying you what you want, but it's really about, for me, just looking at my shortcomings and being honest about them, and then building from there. And then when you have people engaged in what you're doing and in your life, that you care about, and you care about their hopes, goals, and dreams, pretty soon you see that when you create that space and get all your bullshit out of the way, next thing you know, they're reciprocating that. And that's when you build a team that's unstoppable. And I really feel like I'm on this unstoppable team from the band to big records.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean, and I think we can find all your music on streaming platforms just like before, right? You can get it anywhere.
Yeah, you can get it anywhere. Just you can Google Bad Horse, or you can still search Michael F. Rose, but everything is slowly being integrated just into Bad Horse, because this is a project, and I want my guys to have, and they've earned it because they're creating this sound with me. I want them to have, that ownership of it, not just songwriter credits and all that when we're building songs together, but I want them to have this is theirs.
Mhm.
I'm singing in their band,
Right, exactly. Well,
right?
go out to your favorite streaming media site and check those out. And you can also go on all the other social media sites too, like Facebook and so forth, and find you on there. And so, I'm sure Michael would love you if you did that. And I guess the
Yeah, and
song,
at the same time, make sure you go on Paul's, share Paul's, support what he's doing. He's helping independent artists. If you're an independent artist, Paul Mash, you got to go on it. You got to share. You have to share it. You have to share other artists. You know, just find other people and just like their stuff and at whoever the artist is. Start building this artist community because the world needs music. The world needs art of all forms right now. As sad as it is, art is so vitally important, and Paul is working his butt off to do it. So I love what you're doing. I love you. You're a good brother. Make sure that you support what he's doing 100% if you're an independent artist, and if he has you on the show, or even if he doesn't, share his stuff. Get him out there. He's working hard to get a schmo like me on a podcast.
yeah, that's true. I mean, get the word out, not just on Michael F. Rose, but on Paul Mesh TV. We would
Yeah.
love to did work for both of us, and that'd be great. And the song we're getting ready to play now, it's called "Some Things Are Better Left Unsaid." Now that sounds self-explanatory, but is there a deeper meaning? Tell us a little bit about the song. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, it's years ago, I was in a Sheryl Crow video. Nobody knows this factoid. I'm glad you asked that. I hope I don't go too long because I know I kind of already have. I usually don't drink coffee in the afternoon, but I did today, so I apologize. Um, I was in a Sheryl Crow video called Home, and it was in a little town called Hemet, California, and I live nearby. And a friend of mine said Sheryl Crow is shooting a video at the old Hemet stock farm. And if you look up that Sheryl Crow Home video, obviously you'll see it. And I went there with one purpose. I was going to drop my music in her trailer. I just wanted to walk by. If I saw her, hand it to her, or just throw it in there. Well, what happened was when I got there, I'm wearing just like street clothes. I think I had Birkenstocks on. I don't remember, shorts, but everybody's dressed like a cowboy. And I can say hillbilly because half of my family's from Charleston, West Virginia, the other half's from Kentucky. So everybody looked like a hillbilly. And that's why they came to this town, because it was a very country looking town. And I'm proud to be hillbilly, by the way, so I don't want to get any emails about me saying hillbilly. And right then they said, we need group A over here. And I looked at everybody and I saw a wardrobe trailer. So when everybody went that way, I jumped in the wardrobe trailer and I found some jeans, and I couldn't find any boots because I wore a size 13, right? So I'm wearing cowboy boots. I found a flannel shirt. I found a cowboy hat. I rolled it up. I had that on, and I had Birkenstocks on. And I come walking out, and I catch up to Group A, and they take us out. And when you watch the Some Things video, I'm sitting in these bleachers alone. When I was in the video, I was sitting in the bleacher with, about 500-600 people. Maybe, I'm guessing that might be a little high, 300-400 people. And next thing you know, the director goes, "Hey, white cowboy hat, come down here." So I'm like, "Oh, it's me." So I go walking down there, and he goes, "You see that flatbed trailer over there right next to the stage?" He goes, "Well, Cheryl's going to be standing right there." He goes, I'm like 26, right? I look like one of my sons do now. And he's like, "Take your shirt off." And I'm like, "Take my shirt off? I just found the shirt now. What do you mean?" And he goes, "Take your shirt off." And I had like the 6-pack and all that baloney, right? And he goes, "Okay, leave your shirt open. And I want you to stand on the front of that tractor right next to the stage," which actually, no, I was on the tractor. Her stage was a flatbed trailer. And I'm like, it worked. I'm in a Sheryl Crow video. This is the coolest thing. So now I'm in like special or whatever, and I'm really feeling like I might be in the business. Who knows, man? This might have been my big end. So later that afternoon, I go by her trailer, I see her, I say hi, and I hand her this CD of my music, and I go, "Hey, I just wanted to say I love your stuff, and I want to drop off some of my music." And she was cool. She's like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy with the shirt open, whatever." And I gave her, she shut the screen on her trailer and I walked away. And I was just so like on cloud nine. It was the coolest thing. So I went back the next day. We shot some more. They did like a mud bog race during the video. And I was standing right there. I was all over this video. When they released the video, I was edited out of the entire thing. You don't even see me once. There's like this one little shot of her on the stage on the flatbed singing, and there's that tractor, and you see me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not that big. So that was my 2 day work my ass off to try to get my music to Sheryl Crow. And like we talked about earlier a little bit, the music that I gave her, when I think about it, oh, ay caramba. I wish I had some of the stuff I have today back then. I might have got a phone call for a song, but it was rough. So anyway, I just wanted to give that little background. So we shot some things at the Hemet stock farm, and that lonely feeling, and that really like kind of plugs into the song for me, was at that time when I wrote it, that I was still there. I was still in that town. And I have it, the second verse is round and round and round and round we go. Where this stops, God himself don't know. And it was right around that time where I said, I gotta get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't shortly after we shot that video that I packed up and left that town and ended up ultimately up here up near Boise.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there's the background on that. Watch the Sheryl Crow home video, which is relatively depressing, and then watch the Some Things video, which could be relatively depressing. I hope there's at least some optimistic thread through it. And at least now I'm, telling you that that song was kind of the catalyst for me getting out of that town where, from the time I was in the Sheryl Crow video till the time I'm sitting on those bleachers by myself, not a damn thing ever happened to me in music. Mm. I got the life lessons to write the songs, down the road, but you don't always have to, there's enough going through hell on its own. I think writers oftentimes unconsciously create a little bit of extra circumstance because they know it's when we're in pain and agony when we do our best work. So I think Jeff Buckley, guys like that, are amazing examples of that. Phenomenal writers who just couldn't get out of that, So for me, I got out, and now we're here. And it is an older video, and we're working on a Still America video. It's actually in the works. We've shot the live of it already, and now we're just waiting for the weather to be right here in the next week or so we can go out and shoot the walking down the street and seeing all the locals, and we're really looking forward to that. That'll be fun too. Sorry, I got long-winded again, Paul. I told you I wasn't going to do it.
Oh, that's all right. But yeah, it's a great song and video, and we're going to watch that in just a moment. But Michael, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Anytime you want to come back, let us know, and maybe we'll have you on again sometime.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Support Paul Match TV.
Well, I appreciate that, Michael. And anyway, here it is. Some Things Are Better Left Unsaid by Michael F. Rose, and it begins right now.
White sheet blowing on the wind. I don't think she'll be back here again. Just like it was before the war. Money's gone, clothes are on the floor. Time is a monster, yes it's true. And what it didn't need of me, I know is true in all of you. And the one thing worse than being left for dead. Shh. Some things are better left unsaid. Some things are better left unsaid. yourself don't know. And your picture's falling half out of the frame. My gun is gone, I think it's gone away. Time is a monster, yes it's true. And what it didn't need of me by now is chewing on of you. And the one thing worse than being left for dead, some things are better left unsaid. Some things are better left unsaid. Yes, it's true. And what it didn't need of me, I know is chewing on of you. And the one thing that keeps going through my head, some things are better left unsaid. Some things are better left unsaid. Some things are better left unsaid. Some things